Welcome to my basketball universe. Before we get started, I have an exciting announcement to share. I have a new book that is available titled The All-Time Greatest NBA Book, counting down the 50 greatest teams, playoff runs by a player, playoff moments, and the 100 greatest players. There are also additional chapters where I do a 16 bracket to determine the greatest team of all time. And at the end of the book, there's a fun discussion about which players should be selected in a winner-take-all game to save the world from extinction. That chapter is influenced by the Avengers Endgame movie. It's available in ebook and paperback. I have the link in the description box for you to get your copy today. It's currently available exclusively on Amazon. Now on to the video. As it normally happens when a player wins a championship, and you're one of the top scoring options on the team, your legacy starts getting taken seriously. That's just how it works. Khris Middleton is now a 3-time All-Star, and he was the second leading scorer for the Milwaukee Bucks during their 2021 championship season. It should also be noted that Khris is now 30 years old, so his best days are behind him. No one peaks after they turn 30 unless you're DeMar DeRozan or Steve Nash. So that means we can look at his career resume and have a pretty good idea of what tier of NBA greats he should land on. He currently has no All-NBA selections, and it would be safe to say that he most likely will end his career without any such honors. The only thing that could enhance his career further is winning more championships. As long as he's paired with Giannis, then he'll always have a good chance at that. But when it comes to individual accolades, there's nothing else that he could accomplish that could have any major impact on his legacy. So I don't believe it's premature to have this conversation. This video is not going to give him a specific ranking, but to compare him to other players of the past that has also played a big role in their team winning a title. I think there are two players that are on the same tier as Khris Middleton. There's one that will be a blast from the past, and there's another former champion that retired more recently. Let's start with the more modern comparison. The first one is Richard Hamilton. Let's compare the numbers real quick. Here's a snapshot of Khris Middleton's per game numbers for his career. As you can see, his career high in points is 20.9. He also has 3 total seasons where he's averaged over 20 points. We can also appreciate the 5 total seasons where he shot over 40% from the 3 for a season. And he's also consistently been one of the team's top rebounders and playmakers. He's a decent all-around player. As far as Richard Hamilton, his scoring output is very similar to Middleton's. In fact, it's almost identical. Notice the career scoring average of Rip Hamilton. It's 17.1. Middleton's was 17.0. Rip Hamilton's career high in points per game is 20.1, just a little less than Middleton's career high. Now Hamilton is not the rebounder that Khris was, but when you have Big Ben Wallace and Rasheed Wallace holding the paint down, then you don't really have to worry about rebounding. Now Hamilton was just as good of a playmaker as Middleton was. His career assists per game average is 3.4, which is just 0.3 less than Middleton's. Now it's true that Hamilton has never averaged over 5 assists per game, and Middleton has done it twice. But you want to keep in mind the pace that the Pistons played with. Here's an interesting stat. From 2004 to 2011, which were the years that he played with the Pistons, they finished last in pace 3 years. They finished with the second slowest pace for 3 other years, and they had 1 year where they finished with the third slowest pace. They averaged a combined 87.6 possessions per 48 minutes. If we compare to how the game is played today, the Milwaukee Bucks are currently averaging 99.5 possessions per 48 minutes. So when you see that Richard Hamilton averaged a career high of 4.9 assists per game in 2005, when the Pistons finished dead last in pace, it was averaging 87.2 possessions per 48 minutes. You can say that is just as impressive as what Middleton is doing now when you consider the context. Let's go now to their advanced metrics. When you compare them side by side, you see they're pretty similar. You would give the slight edge to Richard Hamilton when it comes to win shares. But Khris Middleton has a slightly better value over replacement player rating, box plus minus, and PER. But the normal output is basically the same. Now let's look at their career accomplishments. They both are 3-time All-Stars. They both have never been selected to make an All-NBA team, and they both have won one title. In the 2004 postseason, Richard Hamilton averaged 21.5 points per game on 44.7% shooting, 4.6 rebounds per game, and 4.2 assists per game. He was the leading scorer for the Pistons, and he was the only player that averaged over 20 points per game. Khris Middleton in 2021 averaged 23.6 points per game on 43.8% shooting, 7.6 rebounds per game, and 5.1 assists per game. We also have to note that Khris Middleton led his team to the finals in the deciding 6th game of the conference finals at Atlanta with Giannis sidelined. That most certainly counts for something, as well as his 40-point performance in Game 4 of the finals. Richard Hamilton's career high in the playoffs is also 40 points, but that came in the first round, so definitely not as impactful. But when we look at their performance in their respected title seasons, they both played key parts. However, Khris Middleton's performance gets overshadowed by Giannis' legendary playoff run, and Rip Hamilton's performance gets overshadowed by the legendary defensive performance by the Pistons, led by Ben Wallace. We also think of the performance of Chauncey Billups because he won the Finals MVP. So overall, when we look at the big picture, I think Richard Hamilton is a fair comparison when we look at their respected careers. The next player that's in the same tier is Gus Williams, aka The Wizard. In my opinion, I think Gus Williams was a better player at his peak than Khris Middleton. For those who don't know, Gus Williams was the point guard and leading scorer for the only title that the Seattle Supersonics won in 1979. During that playoff run, he averaged 26.7 points per game on 47.6% shooting, 4.1 rebounds per game, 3.7 assists per game, and 2 steals per game. As you can see, he was a scoring point guard and he was one of the first of his kind. As far as his individual accolades, he made 2 All-NBA teams, including 1 All-NBA first team. He also finished 5th in MVP voting in 1982. He averaged over 20 points per game in 4 seasons, including his career high of 23.4 points per game in 1982. There were also 2 other seasons where he averaged over 8 assists per game in the mid-80s, so he got better as a playmaker as he got older. Another reason why I think Gus was better during his prime was the advanced metrics that he produced. As you can see here, there were 2 seasons where he finished with a win shares rating of over 10 for a season. Khris Middleton hasn't accomplished that yet. As far as his value over replacement player rating, Khris Middleton's career high wouldn't hit the top 7 for Gus Williams. And for the box plus minus, Khris Middleton's career high wouldn't hit the top 5 for Gus Williams. So I think Gus Williams is a better player, but as far as their career outlook, in terms of what they've accomplished, they're pretty much similar. Gus Williams made the All-Star team 2 times and has a career points per game average of 17.1, just 0.1 higher than Middleton's. So due to the lack of any substantial individual accomplishments and accolades, Gus Williams never got selected to make the Hall of Fame, which I think is fair. Although he was an incredible scoring talent and he played a big role in the championship that the Sonics won, he shouldn't be expected to make the Hall of Fame with only 2 All-Star appearances. I think the same can be said about Khris Middleton. Without any All-NBA selections in his resume, I just don't think we can expect him to make the Hall of Fame and to be seriously considered as one of the top 100 players to ever play the game. But that can change. I think he has an opportunity to cement his name among the greatest players of all time if he can win another championship with the Milwaukee Bucks. There's one last player that I want to discuss that I think is a fair comparison to Khris Middleton, but is just a level higher than he is because of the championships that he's won. That player is JoJo White. He is a Hall of Fame player who played for the Boston Celtics in the 70s along with John Havlicek and Dave Cowens. Let's look at the numbers real quick. Take a look at his per game averages for his career. Once again, the numbers are very similar. They both were good enough to average over 20 points per game a few times during their career, and JoJo White was also a decent all-around player. JoJo White was one of the top playmakers for the team, but John Havlicek was usually the primary playmaker for the Celtics, just like Giannis is usually the primary playmaker for the Bucks. So their production value is very similar. But here's why JoJo White is undoubtedly a Hall of Fame player and was a borderline top 100 player of all time a decade ago. He's a 2-time champion and he's a 7-time All-Star. The Boston Celtics made the finals 3 times, and JoJo White also won a finals MVP in 1976. In their 1976 championship season, he averaged 22.7 points per game on 44.5% shooting, 5.4 assists per game, and 3.9 rebounds per game for the playoffs. Do you remember how much Khris Middleton averaged in the 2021 playoffs? It was 23.6 points per game on 43.8% shooting. I think Khris Middleton has a chance to match his career resume. If Khris Middleton can add 3 more All-Star appearances and win 1 more title alongside Giannis, then he has an intriguing case to make the Hall of Fame. Would he be first ballot? I highly doubt that, but he could down the line. That's the ceiling for Khris Middleton, to be mentioned in the same breath as the Hall of Fame legend JoJo White. That's pretty good for a player that was in nobody's radar 5 years ago. Sometimes all you need is luck and good timing, and Khris Middleton is very fortunate to be playing alongside the once-in-a-lifetime talent that Giannis is, who seems to also want to stay with the Bucks for as long as possible. If I were Khris Middleton, I would never let go. If you enjoyed today's content, don't forget to like the video and subscribe to my Basketball Universe channel to enjoy more content like this. Thanks for listening.